Okay, before I get started, anyone has any issue with your assignment? Do you want to ask anything? Because tomorrow is a submission date. I can spend some time with you because most of the people are not here today, and this week you're gonna have a test, right? I mean, like this Friday you're gonna have a test. So, and anything you want to ask me? Hey, nothing. Your assignment all done already, is it? Almost all done.
No, almost. Almost.
Almost, huh? Uh, Jesse, is it? Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse is a guy, is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm a guy.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it's a girl. Okay. Jesse Liu Jiahui. Wow, you really sound like a girl name.
OMG,
Okay.
doctor.
Okay, since you're still here, you're not going away first because recently my laptop actually conked out over the weekend, so it's a bit messy for me to open my email. Let me have a look at your assignment now, and then I will feedback to you now. So I won't reply you later, okay?
All right.
Okay, you want me to comment on your resources data sheet? Let me see. Oh, my phone is so small. I'm getting put out already. Okay. Right. All right. So you have your work breakdown and then you have a description. Okay. Which is okay. All right. Okay. So your description is mainly for the materials, Okay, quantity, right? Okay, resources, manpower, operator, description, so number. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay, I see that some of your productivity rate, um, those that you are sort of like teaming up with the machine, you don't put any productivity rate. Is that what you're doing? And those that labor that you are just purely by labor themselves, you put a productivity rate and then you directly put the days at the back, is it? I mean, like you've done the calculation according to the
Yeah,
five,
doctor.
right? Okay. All right. So yeah, it's kind of like it's actually understandable. I mean, I kind of know what you're doing. Yeah, it's just that let me see, quantity. 93.48 hydraulic bending. Okay. I'm just thinking, is there any way for you to highlight like which one is it that you're using to calculate the duration, you see? Because it's a little bit confusing. Okay. All right. Okay, 192 hours. It's just 24 days. Okay. Later on in your duration, you have to don't you cannot have points, Okay, So I understand what you're doing. I mean, like the resources data sheet looks quite reasonable to me. Okay. Just that because you have like maybe you can highlight your material bit, and material and quantity of works and material, because sometimes certain quantity of works is based on material, but certain quantity of works is actually the quantity of work itself. So I think, is there any way to differentiate that, which one you're basing it on? Are you basing it on the material, or are you basing it on the quantity of works, you see? So maybe there's another column that you can put that, justify, like quantity of material is one thing, but then you have a quantity of works. If it's the same thing, you just have to copy that over to that column as well. Like for example, uh, 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 vegetation removal. So this one is basically not the material so it's actually the quantity of works huh? So that means under your material section, you put after the material section, I want you to have a column, a specific, just one column, and we call it quantity of works. Okay. And then if it's like based on the quantity material, you can copy that over into your quantity of works. And then after that, if those are like non-material related, then it's about the quantity of work, like earthwork and all that, then you also copy that over. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, doctor.
Okay, so basically you convert everything to quantity of works. Sometimes, because some of this is a removal of the soil. So this is not the material, so it's not fair if you put it there as material. That will be the quantity of works. So you just put it under quantity of works, and those is material based. You do your material quantity and then copy that to your quantity of work. So in the end, all your productivity rate calculation are based on quantity of works. You understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is how maybe you can differentiate by color the manpower section into something else as well. I mean, like you have a blue for machinery, maybe you can have some other colors called coordination for manpower. Then I want you to kind of like differentiate, like your productivity rate, you are basing it on which productivity rate, because now it's a bit confusing when I look at it. I mean, I understand, but I'm just wondering if there's any way of making it a little bit better. Yeah, maybe you can think about that, because or you can maybe highlight the you know actually highlight, like a little highlight or something, like a very light highlight for the productivity that you're using, whether whether you're using the machinery one or you're using the manpower one. I mean, I kind of like the fact that you did it that in a way that you don't, like, let's say if this is not based on manpower, you don't put the manpower productivity rate, you directly just put under the machinery productivity rate. I think that may work, but in the event that you have two side all got productivity rate, then how are you going to, like which one are you basing it on? So is there any way that we can highlight that, or maybe those that you're not using, you don't put at all? Like for example, your general works, for example, you have your general workers and excavator operator. So this one is directly under the you only use machinery productivity rate. So that one is quite easy to understand, that you don't put any productivity rate under the human part. So then we know that you're using that one. But there are many of them that you're having both. Or are you having both? Yeah, like for example, the power cap and all that, you're actually having both. Like you have got your formwork operator, and then also you've got the other side. Oh no, you don't. Huh? Oh, okay. Sorry. Uh, yeah, I'm a bit confused because my screen is a bit small. Okay. So yeah, so that is fine. So I think your way is, but try to explain that in the report. Can you do that?
Yeah, doctor. Can.
Mm. I mean, I think at the moment the resources data sheet is looking from the 2 or 3 that I've seen so far from you guys. It looks okay. I mean, it all looks like you do understand what we're trying to get at here to arrive at the production rate. I mean, to arrive at the duration. So that is really good. So I think some of you did it one way, you did it this way. So um, I think you all understand the concept behind resources data sheet and how to produce duration. So now I need you all to be able to explain that in the report, which is quite important because if the report is just tables like that now, it's not going to get you marks, so you have to give like some calculation examples, some explanation, and then some calculation examples, and then refer to the table. Okay, and then the table, if it's really big, please print it in A1 size. Sorry, A1, A3, sorry, print in A3 size, and you fold it nicely. And I think, oh no, you don't, because you're doing it, oh, you're not submitting it. Yeah, you're not submitting. I forgot you're not submitting it physical anymore. You're submitting everything online. Okay. So maybe that page itself, make it like quite clear lah. Huh? Don't just squeeze it into an A4 sheet. Because if you do that, then it's going to be really, really small. So it's very hard to read. Okay, so I think now it's just make the matter of finishing it up and try to present it. Have you finished writing your report? Have you done your report yet? Are you on the way doing the report?
Yeah, all the way.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully we'll see how you go for the report lah, huh, Jessie? Like I said, do it properly. Like you have to have the table of content, you have to have your background, project background, with the drawings, everything, and then your work breakdown. From your work breakdown, what are the resources chosen? From the resources chosen, how you use your resources, how you use the production rate, to calculate your duration, and then do some examples calculation, and then show the examples properly before you show the whole table and the whole Gantt chart. And the Gantt chart and the table of resources that actually you have to kind of like do it in a very clear, clean way. I mean, like present it in like maybe a bigger sheet of paper. I mean, I'm not sure whether that is actually doable. Like, I think it is doable. I mean, like you probably have to PDF it. No, not really. Um, I suppose you can, but then it's a matter of, if let's say you're doing physical ones, we would. I mean, if you give me a hard copy of the report, I want this to be in A3, so that it's a really, really clear. Like this is the resources data sheet, and this is the Gantt chart. Instead of like some people actually put like pages and pages of Gantt chart. So like pages and pages, like break up Gantt chart, and I don't want that. Okay, so make sure that you can fit it into at least a one A3 size paper, whether you're going to be submitting it online or whether you're submitting it physically. Okay, I mean, like you're not submitting physically, obviously, but if you submit, I mean, we want you to submit online, so make sure that your presentation is very clear. Okay. And like I said, one of the questions will be based on resources data sheet this coming Friday, the test. So make sure that you all know what to do. Like if this is only done by one guy, then the rest of the people is going to be having a lot of issues. So you may have to give some examples, like whatever you're doing here during the test. Okay. All right, Jessie, have I answered your question?
Yeah,
Anything else? Anything else you are confused, or anything else you want to ask me?
I don't think so.
Mm.
Right.
Okay, then later on, you need to draw your CPM as well, huh? Okay, so I hope this is not what you're doing today. Otherwise, it's going to be like quite a lot of work for you to finish up. I know they're handing in tomorrow by Friday. I mean, by 5 p.m. Anyone else has anything to do with assignments that you want me to once and for all clear up? I'm giving you guys a priority here to do the assignment tracking and all that. If you're worried about sharing, okay, I think we'll just move on first. If you really want me to share something, like if you want me to comment on your whatever, maybe you can email me like now, and then after the class I can have a bit of time, because I know some of you, they don't want to share screen because they are a bit embarrassed, or they are feel like a bit shy sharing the assignment, or they feel like if they share the assignment then everybody's going to copy them. So I mean, either way, if you really want me to comment in this class later before 2 p.m., just email me something if you want, and then I can look through my handphone and I will verbally comment like what I did just now. Okay. All right. If not, then we will just move on. Otherwise, we'll be here asking, and nobody is wanting to talk to me at all. Where's my window? Okay. Can you all see my screen on S curve?
Yes, yes,
Is my screen moving?
yes.
Okay, good. All right, okay. Right. So, like how when we have our cost planning, like what we did, like what we mentioned last Monday, there is this before and after, like say, before award, before confirmation on the work, on the cost of the project. So that usually signifies that, the tender is actually done, and the contractor has already put up the cost proposal, fill up the BQ and submit the tender, and then, they're ready to award the project, and then the budget now is being confirmed through detailed work, through a detailed costing calculation. So that is what we do before the job, what we call a pre-commitment time. So pre-commitment essentially is getting ready all these, like all the processes of determining the different estimates, through conceptual, and the usage of that through different phases of the project. You see, so from conceptual to project development to the final design, and then the final costing calculation by the contractor. There's different technique that we have available in order for you to come up with the cost. And of course, at different stages of the project life cycle, you use the costing technique differently. So at the earlier stages, at the very early stages, we use expert opinion. And after that, conceptual, we'll use analogy, order of magnitude kind of estimates. And then in your project development, whereby you need to submit when you need to do option studies, when you need to do whether the project is robust, the robustness studies and all that, whether this is a good project to proceed, the economics, the engineering economics part of things, the project evaluation part of things, we can use parametric estimates. And then when the final detailed design is done, or preliminary design is done, you can use parametric estimates. And then when the detailed design is done, then you can proceed to use the definitive estimates. And that is what most QS and most engineers will do at that point in time, because that is, you don't have like the construction work procedures and all that, and how much labor and resources and all that the contractor will put in. That one is very much dependent on the their strategy, their skills, in their alertness in calculating the detailed work breakdown structure. So then when the contractor does it, and when contractor does it, it means engineer does it as well, because nowadays, we are not limited to us working in consultant only, so or with client only. You'll be like working in various stages of the project. You can use different costing technique. And if you work for contractor, obviously you're going to use detailed work breakdown structure, which is whatever that you're doing now at the moment, that you're doing the duration, and after the duration, you're going to use it and plug it into your cost estimator worksheet. So after your different calculation is done, okay, after all the calculation is done, then you got a final cost for every category of work. So you transfer that to the BQ that is being provided to you by the client side for them to assess the tender later on. So this is the whole process of pre-commitment. And then another issue that always come in during the pre-commitment stage is the funding for the project. So most of us will, like some of you will actually go on and operate your own contractor firm in the future. I'm not surprised, okay? You can get licensed, you're an engineer yourself, and then you engage more engineers, and then you will open your own contractor firm and all that. So it is quite common for that, and very common for development project also. You can, you open your own development firm, like doing development project as well, and joint venture with different customers, client to do development as well. There's many opportunity out there. Okay, our job scope is actually quite a lot as well. So you're not like just design office alone. That's not the end of the story. There's many things that you can do. So with contractor, operating your own consultancy firm, operating your own contractor firm, operating your own development firm, whenever the project is actually, why we need the budget, because we need to prepare for the money. You see that in the industry, this is a very big industry. Having to say that it is an industry that depends on a lot of people. You depend on labor, you depend on machines, you depend on suppliers, and there can be hardware people, there can be factory manufacturer of product that is dealing with your construction materials like concrete, like steel bars, and then you could be dealing with like hardware shops, that sells you concrete, that sells you screws, that sells you consumables, and cements and all that. So it's a very big industry, but this is a very, very realistic industry. If you don't have money, there is nothing that you can do for construction. So that's that one thing. Before I go into my lecture today, I want to bring the final part of the pre-commitment one, is to bring you the attention of funding. So every construction firm, whether it's a contractor, consultant, or developers or client side, you need to do financial management. And one of the thing in financial management is about funding. Where are you going to get your funding from? As a contractor, if I want to embark onto a 5 million project, I already tender for 5 million project. You're not going to be expecting the client to give you like prepayment, and then for your prepayment to go and engage your labor, buy your materials. No, normally the client will only pay you after you have a substantial amount of work, which is stated in a contract. The contract will say to you that, if your claim is up to 100,000, then you can claim. If it's less than 100,000, you cannot claim. So meaning that you do your work up to that certain minimum, then you dapat claim. So if it's less than that minimum, you're not even allowed to claim. And from the claim itself, you're going to be putting at least another 2 to 3 months, and that is pretty good already. About 3 months for you to be for you to get your money back. So from the start of the project until the moment that you get your money, at all the payment from any client for that matter, you'll be looking at about 6 months into the project at least, 6 to 8 months even. And there are people who are like, now industry is like having a lot of issues with payment, that some people are not even paid, some contractors are not even paid, even like after 1 year working in the project. So in between, where are you going to get your money from, you see? So every project needs funding. And this funding, what is the amount of funding? By the rule of thumb, we usually talk about 20%. So meaning that if you are embarking into a 5 million project, $5 million project, okay, you should have about $1 million in your account. Okay, that is like hard-earned, hard cash, or cash that is ready. That is some you cannot be a negative gosong, like gosong person, and then you can go and tender for a project without any capital. No way. Okay, 20% is the most common rule of thumb. So if you are you're about to a 10 million project, $10 million worth of project, you are about a 2 million. You have some funding of 2 million sitting in your banks, or stay about sitting in your banks. Okay, that you can pay your supplier, you can pay your hardware people, you can pay your machinery people, you can pay your laborer, and that's very, very, very common. Okay, and then where you get the funding from, you could raise it from your own company, so meaning that your company has shareholders, and shareholders raise the money. Like let's say we're embarking onto a big investment, so would you guys want to invest more money into the project? So like maybe 5 different people come up with like 50,000, I mean like 200,000, 200,000, 200,000. So you have shareholders of like $1 million, that is getting ready to manage, to be managed and paid and all that to your to the downstream, like the supplier and all that. Okay, or you could like if it's a public listed company, you can divide your shares and like sell your shares more out there, to compose more money lah. And then you can of course borrow from lending institutions like banks. Okay, you can actually get facilities from the banks. Bank may not loan you like hardcore cash, but they can give you credit facilities like overdraft. So meaning that you have a house or whatever that is in the bank, and then they don't loan you the money directly, but they can actually give you overdraft or credit facilities, meaning that, if you need money, you can overdraw. You only have 1 million in the bank, but you can overdraw up to 2 million. So that another 1 million is in credit facilities. So most banks do that for businesses. That's very common as well. Okay, and some banks actually give like government grants as well. Through government grants, what they will do is you send them the contract that you have with the government project, and then when the government payment comes, it has to go through their banks. Okay, so they will give you credit facilities for you to overdraft, for you to use, for you to pay your suppliers and all that from their account. And then when the money comes, they will take the portion from your money to pay back whatever that you have used. So these are kind of like some of what we call banking facilities that you need to be aware of lah. So obviously there are some government grants out there that you can also get, but not all the time. It really depends on the government punya budget and all that kind of stuff. At the big in the middle of the year, I mean at the end of the year, whereby they announce the budget, whether there's any agency is going to give you such grants, that it really depends on the government effort, in a lot of ways. So whether they have that kind of like initiatives, sometimes they have got small business initiative, or they want to build up small contractors and all that, so they will give out grants. So it's good to watch out for that as well. Okay, so of course you can use your own money. So some people, some very cash rich people, they have family background, that your parents are in the industry for many years already, so you have built up a very good solid business that has a lot of cash. So of course you can do project based on those cash as well. So I think these are some of the funding that we're looking at lah. So whenever we look at funding, we're actually looking at the capital for the project. Like capital, where are you going to get your capital for the project? Okay, so these are like issues that as any engineers, as any contractors, as any developers and all that, you need to think about that as well. So for example, if you're working for government agency, if you're working for JKR or whatever, you need funding. The funding can come from the budgets, the financial budgets from the government. Okay, if you're from JKR, DID, and all that. So if you don't get the funding, you essentially would not have money to tender out the project in that way. So if you're a developer, you need to raise funds, you need to have like shareholders, stakeholders raising funds, in order for you to fund the project, fund the initiatives of a new development. So these are from a client perspective, they need money as well. So, and of course, these are what we call capital for the project. And why are we concerned on the capital for the project? Because, like I say, if the capital for a project is 1 million for this option, another capital for another project is actually 1.2 million for another project. Another project C option is actually capital is actually 0.9 mil, for example. So different project ideas will give you different project estimates, and that estimates is how much the money will be used in the end. So you use that for project evaluation. So that figure, if you use it for project evaluation, you'll be looking at comparing whether the cost is too high, and then what kind of benefit would it bring for that amount of cost. It does not mean that 0.9 is less than 1, and 1 is less than 1.3. Obviously, in terms of number, they are less, but in terms of the benefit that they bring, the value is different. So you're matching the value for the project. So whichever project that gives you a better value, you want to invest in those projects. And you guys are not going to be working for people for the rest of your life. Many of you will be operating your own businesses, and then you'll be operating your own contractor firm, subcontractor firm, specialist material. Some of you may open factories, and these are the financial aspects of things that we need to look at, that you need to be aware of. So yes, as engineers, if you come to project management, I taught you how to manage project. We're looking at estimates, so different type of estimates to be used at different time, different techniques and all that. Yes, this is what you need to know, you see. So, but when you practice, when you go out there, you are going to be in business, you're going to be in finance. You need to have that kind of you need to have that kind of ability in that sense. Okay, so for finance, I need to check with Dr. Lee. For economics, I'm not sure for you guys, are we going to be enforcing on financial studies as well a little bit in your engineering economics, because it is in a new syllabus, but I'm not sure about whether you guys will be asked to do that. If it's not, then I can post up a set of notes for you all to read through. I cannot cover that in project management. It's just too much. Okay. We usually have to cover that in about like at least a very surface kind of thing. We need to cover that in about 2 weeks. Like at least like 4 classes. I mean, like 2 weeks is usually 4 classes, 3 classes like that. Okay. So I can give you some notes on that. I usually will give out some notes on that. So for you all to read through, like what is balance sheet, what is what you call financial statement, and of course in maybe in economics, I will mention that as well. So what I need you to be aware of from project management is this is not going to be examinable in terms of the financial statement. It's not examinable in project management, but I need you to be aware of it, because running a project is running a business, and all engineering, civil engineering work, they are all project based. So every project is like every business that you're doing. It's like you operate a firm to run different projects. So you need to know whether the project is going to make you money, what is it going to cost you, whether it's going to bring you the maximum benefit, maximum profit, and then where you're going to get your money from so that you don't go bankrupt, you see. So I mean, like, you just imagine you embark onto a project that you have $0 in your bank account, and then you embark onto a project, and then after 1 month of working, you need to pay labor, you need to pay your people, then you need to pay your machinery. Then second month, there will be more invoices coming, and then there will be like material invoices coming. And then third month, you're supposed to be paying people. Like some people give you credit, and then you need to pay them on 60 days. So it already here, but you haven't received any money from the client. So where are you going to get money from? This is our very practical issues, So this is really, like I said, I'm not joking when I say there's no cash. Cash is king, and no money, no honey. It's like your project will stop. If you don't pay people, you don't pay your supplier, you don't pay your machine guy, your project will stop, you know. And when your project stop, and people will stop supplying you, and you're going to get yourself a very, very bad reputation about a very bad paymasters, and other supplier will not supply you with things, and then people will start starting to chase you for money. And if you still don't get money from your client over a longer period of time, then you will have to declare bankruptcy, you see. So then your whole career is going to be over, you know. It's just like it's just like your career just took off, opening a new firm, fly out, and then the plane crashed totally and you lost everything. So it is a very practical part of things that we're looking at, you see. So you need that skills, you need that awareness, okay. And okay, so when this is about the funding bit, the financial bit of engineering project, which is the pre-commitment stage that you need to be aware of. You need to know the estimating techniques, you know, the costing technique, the estimating technique, about detail, about order of magnitude. All this technique you need to know. That is very, very basic. You need to know about funding, okay? You need to know about you need to know about funding. You need to know about capital, how much capital for the project that you need to put in, you know, and then how much available cash that you need as well. Okay, so yeah, so this is about implementing. I mean, how you're going to implement your cost. Okay, and of course that has to, at different stages. I keep on emphasizing on different stages of the project life cycle is because this is essential. You don't do everything, you know, at once, you know. So like I said, conceptual, you have conceptual way of doing things. The needs, the reason why you do it during conceptual is to compare options, you know, is compare which one is going to give you a better value. And project development is about option development, okay, and all that. So you need your order of magnitude, you need your parametric estimates, and then when you do your prelim design, you need your parametric estimates as well. And then the project is going to proceed into design stage. In design stage, you're going to do definitive estimates with the all-up rate. So this all-up rate is for you all to, you know, like do estimates for the project without having to think about how many laborer that you're going to use, how many labor, how many machine, and all that. It's just basically to do one unit of work. This is what you need. And then detailed one, you need to split up your labor, machinery, and all that. You need to split up all your resources carefully and plan your resources carefully. Do your resources data sheet carefully. Do your WBS carefully. Do your duration carefully. You know, in a detailed way for you to produce a detailed work break. For you to produce your detailed costing, okay, or your detailed estimates. And once that estimate is being confirmed, it becomes your budget. And then we move on, you know, from there, all the funding, everything all settled already. Then we move on into project is already ongoing now. It's already awarded. So it's a post-commitment stage. So post-commitment stage, normally our major concern is to monitor our costs, okay? So how do we monitor the cost? Monitoring cost basically is about spending. How are you going to spend, you see? Overspend, underspend, on time, spending. It's all about spending. Okay, so monitoring your spending, controlling your spending, controlling your expenses. So how do you control, monitor your expenses? One of the common tools that we have is what we call S-curve. Okay, don't ask me why is it called S-curve. Definitely not me who designed it. You know, it's been here. You know, even though my name has an S in it, it's not. I'm not doing S. I mean, it's not my curve. Okay, so S-curve is just basically something that looks like an S. You know. So, but then some people are very funny. They say, "Oh, come, my curve doesn't look like an S. You know, it's a very flat curve." And then I said, don't worry, it's just a name, you know. You can be called beautiful, but you're not exactly beautiful. Your parents can call you handsome, but you're not exactly handsome. Same thing, okay? So it's called S curve, but it's not necessarily like look like an S, like a beautiful slim S, standing S, you know. So it could be a flat S, it can be a slanting S, it can be like a really like an old pull out S, okay? So it's just a name, okay? So basically, X-curve is for, there's a few purpose here, but it's all for monitoring purpose, okay? So there are two types of S-curve. So S-curve is like a display is like a display of the cost, okay, over a period of time. So S-curve is like your map, your map of how you plan to spend the money. It's like a SOP of how you're going to spend the money. It's like a picture of how you're going to spend the money. To me, it's like a map. Like you go here first, then you go there, then you go there, then you go here, month by month over a period of time. So it's like a display, it's like a graphical display about from the beginning to the end of the project, how you're going to spend the money and how you're going to work, basically. Okay, so therefore you have two type of S-curve, which is what we call a physical and financial S-curve. Okay, so how do we do financial S-curve? Okay, so this is a project. Okay, this is your project, and for this, like how after we've done your costing calculation for all your level 1 activity, you already fill up all your BQ, and then you've also got your estimated worksheet. Your estimated worksheet corresponds with your BQ on the section. So this is like activity A, let's say general and preliminaries, this is 1,400, and activity B is how much? It's all worked out already. So in your estimate, in your detailed estimate, you've already got them all like, all calculated already. Okay, so this is what we are doing for the percentage of progress of work. So I mean, what we're saying is this is a weightage. So activity A, we're giving it a 12% weightage. You see, this weightage does not necessarily correspond with cost. Okay, you need to be very careful. A lot of people like to use cost, like let's say 3,500 out of 30,000, and then they make it into like 10%. So it's actually not accurate that way. So why you will need a physical S-curve if you already got like a financial S-curve? They will look a bit different because the percentage, the weightage that you put on the progress, the work is actually different. Okay, so activity A, we've got progress of 2, activity 12, 30, 10, then all they add up to 100. Okay, so your activity, you need to have all the weightage of work. Okay, so this is the sum of money that you've already calculated from your level 1, your level 3. You put your duration inside there, you calculate with the rate, like how much money for 10 workers, blah blah blah, and then how much, like now you do your resources direction, you have the days correct now. So then when you come to money, you need to take that resources, every one of that resources over that 10 days, and then calculate your cost. So all the small one will add up to your second layer, and the second layer will add up to your first layer. So this is like presentation of the first layer. So financial S-curve, we want to present how this money will be spent over a period of time. Okay, so you will have to correspond back to your schedule again. So this is like doing your resources level loading again. So this time we're doing money. When we're doing resources leveling, we normally when we're doing resources loading, we will do like labor and all that. We don't split them. Okay, but money, this is the total that you need to use to complete activity A over 3 days period. So you can give it like divide by 3, or you can put like 400, 500, 500. Activity B, it takes 5 days. Okay, so you go back to your schedule again and you load your money over your schedule. Okay, so this is like how much you're going to spend over a period of time. So 2007, so you can put like 500, 500, 500, 500, and 700 also can. 7 days, you can put 500, 500, 500 equally if you want. 500, 500, 500 equally if you want. Again, it is your planning of how you plan to spend the money over a period of time. Okay, so the example here is just divide by the days, but not necessarily divided by the days. The total have to add up to this sum here. That is the main thing. Okay, so then you split the cost, so you go through it. So then like this is like you go vertically down. So whatever that you load up, again, just like your resources loading histogram, you load it up. So resources histogram is for the resources like labor and machinery and all that. But finance one is money one. We are looking at producing an S curve. So resources histogram is for the physical labor and all that, whereas S curve is for the money. Okay. So then you add up. So let's say this is 467 divided by 3 lah, huh? And then you add it up, add up. You know, this is 540, and this one is this one plus this one, add up. This one is this one plus this one, add up. This one is this one plus this one, add up. You know, add up, add up, add up. So finally, this is the amount of money. This is like how you do your resources histogram. So from here, we need to do cumulative. So meaning that you need to take your 0.0467, then second point is 467 plus 467, and the total plus 467, and the total plus 540. So this is how you do cumulative. Okay, so from the cumulative, you just have to plot this number here against the time. So you can draw it, you know, like this. So imagine this is the money, this is the time. Okay, so then time, day 1 how much, day 2 how much, cumulative cumulative amount. So does it look like an S? Not really. Kind of look like an S, like a funny S. So this is like this is like a picture of a display of how you be spending your money month by month, day by day. Okay, and there's a few aspects of looking at this. Okay, there's a few aspects of looking at this. Number one is this cost here. This cost here, if you put this cost here, if you draw this S curve for a client, this cost here will be what you tender. So the amount that you tender, so it's inclusive of your profit, is basically you're drawing this curve with the tender amount, with all the BQ sum and everything for each of the activity, and split it over the curve. So this curve, you are showing it, you are always taking it and submitting it to the client. And what do the client do with this? The client wants to know your planning of how they are going to spend their money. So meaning that the client will look at certain point in time, and let's say 540,000, 54,000 is the minimum sum that minimum sum that you can apply for payment. So they will know by month 3 you will be applying for payment, you know, and then what else in whichever month that you're paying. So they are going to be expecting you to claim, okay, different time of each month. Different time over the project. So by looking at the S curve, they are actually preparing about the spending. So they are making sure, you know, like some client, actually some developers and some private client, they actually will put their money in certain investment or fixed D or whatever. They don't just leave it sitting in a bank waiting for you to claim, you know. So by looking at your S curve, they will know expected at when certain point in time that they may be receiving a claim of like 100,000, they'll be receiving a claim of 1 million or 2 million or whatever. Then at least they know those months that they will need to draw out the money and pay you see. So they want to make sure that it doesn't clash with their own financial planning in their own organization as well. So like government agency, they will do that as well. They will definitely ask for the S curve, or the S curve will be the cost of what you tender for, the contract sum, okay, over a period of time, so that they will know that, you know, especially hitting at the end of the year, and there's some months that is hitting end of the year, they have to be very careful to see that there's certain amount of money that is unclaimed or that may not be claimed yet. So they may ask you to claim it a bit early or fasten the job so that you can claim early so that they don't have to return the money back to the ministry, you see. So these are some of the issues that we have with government agency. They have they have a rule that, you know, when the government give you money, the ministry or whatever give you money, ministry to give you money, let's say Ministry of Works, give you money to JKR to do projects, you know. So they commit the money, they want to see how the money is being spent over the period of time. Then there will be certain sum that will not be spent because some project is 18 months, 24 months and all that. So then they need to know that how much money have to be kept aside so that to be carried forward to next year for the payment purpose. If they cannot carry forward, they need to return back to the ministry. Then they have to find way of spending the money. So these are why you need to see S-curve, why client developers, like the client employer agencies and the contractor, they want to see how the money, how the tender sum, how the contract sum will be spent over the period of the project. And that is the first purpose, okay? And of course, as a contractor, you can do that with your estimator worksheet. So with your estimator's worksheet, you know these are your expenses. When you do your estimator's worksheet, you're talking about expenses. When you do the BQ and tender sum, these are the contract sum, which is the budget, okay? So your own estimator's worksheet, it will describe the expenses. By keying in the number that is related to expenses, you also can see how the expenses will go over the next few months. And why do we need to know that? Again, if you are, number one, you need to know, you need to know that, your claim is not going to come in on the 3rd or the 5th. So by looking at the other S-curve and put that together with your expenses S-curve, you can see the difference between the expenses S-curve and your tender S-curve, or your contract sum S-curve, okay? And there will be from the contract sum S-curve, you can point out, you can see, there are certain months that you will have enough to claim, and that claim will not come in until like 3 months later. So then from there, let's say, I give you an example. So let's say the first month I claim, my first claim comes in 2nd month. Okay, this line, I claim in 2nd month. My expenses is already here. My claim is here, but I don't receive the money until here. So meaning that in between, there will be a huge negative in your monthly payment to your subcontractor. So this is basically the amount that you need to prepare in your account. So just now when I said 20% rule, that is a rule of thumb. If a real good calculation will be basing it on your expenses S-curve, which is you get from your estimator's worksheet, versus your contract sum S-curve, and then make a comparison and see if there's any big negative value. The biggest negative value will be the amount of money that you need for you to actually fund the project. Okay, so these are the reason why we need to know our financial S-curve. Okay, so you are also asked to produce a physical S-curve as well. Okay, so physical S-curve, like I said, is based on percentage of work. So certain percentage, you can base it on resources, which I think is very similar with your resources histogram, as just that, just that it is drawn in this way, which not, you can use that as your physical S-curve, okay, using your resources to draw your physical S-curve. But that one is, we don't really use that but what we normally do is the work. So we take the percentage of work and then divide over, like this is the weightage. So weightage, you can say that, okay, first month we're going to do more, or we're going to have like more or less or whatever. The first month we don't do anything because we are waiting for the material to arrive. Second month we do 6%. We can go by that as well. So this curve, the way that you handle this is to split your weightage over time. Okay, this one is to split your resources over time and draw your S-curve, same format. But I recommend this if you next time in your future, if you need to submit an S-curve to your client, do it as work percentage. Okay, and this is the kind of thing that a lot of somebody was asking me like, how do we know that their progress of work is actually as it is? Okay, but not looking at the Gantt chart only, is by looking at the S curve. Okay, so this percentage of work has to correspond with your Gantt chart. Okay, so how do we know? How do we know whether we're in delay? Okay, it's like, when you have your Gantt chart, and Dr. Lee talked about tracking Gantt. So when you track your Gantt chart, by month 1, you will see, oh, I've only done certain amount of work. So this one here, by putting the weightage over, like by doing the weightage first, okay, then you can calculate the full weightage of work that you have done. Okay. How do I explain this? It's a bit hard to explain over physical like this. Maybe I will show it to you like next Friday when we have a physical class. This Friday is, I think we're going to be stuck with the test. Okay, can you all inform those friends who are not attending classes that you're actually going to have a test? So yeah, so I'm trying to verbally try to explain it to you, but it's okay. Let's deal with S curve first. So by putting weightage to work, and you can ask me why do I put 12, 30, 21, 10, 12, 15? What is the basis of that weightage? So like for us as engineers, normally it's based on, it's definitely, some people will base it on money, like I say, but it's not accurate to base it on money. Does not mean that this amount is big. It means that work progress is more. So I think we usually will base it on looking at the time that is being used, and also the level of work, the level of activities that you have. So the more activities that you have for that work, the more percentage that you will have. So let's say your structural work, you have, like when you do your work breakdown, there's a lot of activities under structural work. So then that will usually take up a higher percentage. Okay. And compared to, let's say, general and preliminaries, you only have like, or earthwork, you've only got like 5 or 6 activities. So therefore you put a certain percentage of the earthwork there with some complexity factors. Some work may be a lot of work, but the complexity is not there. But some work is a lot of work, but it's a little bit of work, but the complexity is there. Such as like welding, for example. Welding, it sounds like one word, welding, but then welding is a lot more complex, so it will take longer time. So then it will actually end up having a good high percentage as well. So this is how we determine percentage, by looking at the level of activities that we have, by looking at the complexity of the project, by looking at the time that we're using for it. So these are some of the elements that you're determining. Actually, whether you're going to put 35 or 31, there's no correct, perfect answer. It doesn't matter. We will usually, as a habit, we just think like that. Our flow of thought will be like, looking at the activities, there's a lot of activities means higher. So we usually put like higher percentage, and then we play with the lower one. And then we try to, like spread it over to our entire, project activities, level 1 activities. So then from that percentage, we will actually split it over. You can divide by days, or you can actually, like I say, go by 0, or 1 or 2 or less. As long as it add up to be that percentage, that's fine. So once you add it up, this is divide 1 now. So then you just add it up. Okay, and then add it up, and then after that you do cumulative as well. Okay, so you do cumulative, so it will always end up with 100. So as long as your cumulative is, if you do it properly, no mistake anyway, then you will always end up with 100, because in the end, towards the end of the project, you're going to be achieving 100% of work complete. So then finally, you draw your S curve, and I think this is, like, if you base it on resources, you see, same project, if you base it on resources, it looks like this. So if you base it on financial, it looks like this. So it is different, So it is different. So based on work, is different. So you really cannot fully correspond money with physical. So try not to. So stick to one method. Financial, you do financial. Physical, you do physical. So then you take it. I mean, like the resources one is basically like saying that the number of resources that you use, they will talk about that as the physical work. The more resources that you use, the higher percentage of physical work that you're doing. Basically, that is assumptions, But to me, I prefer it like using the weightage, weightage of work, and then from there reflect into your S curve. So what's the point of physical S curve? Physical S curve is also a way of monitoring as well. Basically, client wants to know yourself. This one has nothing to do with your own planning. This one has really to do with the overall. I mean, like as in just now financial S curve, you can look at your expenses S curve versus your contract S curve. This one no need. This one is just basically this is the percentage that you wish to achieve. Okay, it's going to be the same curve for the client. It's the same curve for you to monitor yourself on the physical work that will be done on site. Okay, so this is like talking about the level of activities lah. Beginning is going to be slower, and then it will get steeper, and then at a certain point it will be a bit less steep, and then going up again back to 100%. So this is like looking at how you plan your work. Okay, and this is a very good S curve for you to monitor your job. Okay, so if let's say we have this curve is already there, so using what we call the EV technique, okay, I will explain EV technique in a little while. So if you imagine now that the project started, okay, and then your gun chart, you draw your gun chart, your tracking gun. So then you're going to have another color down here. If you finish the job, it's like done. Okay, so that means 12% is done. And then here, at certain point in time, let's say you cut off at certain point in time, then you monitor on site. Okay, so is this done? Is this 6% done? Okay, so in your Gantt chart, you will see the progress of work. What is actually done. 30%. Okay, 30% of work. Okay, let's say I'm cut off here. So this 30% means what? It means pouring concrete. It means like it means bar bending. It means like the whole floor or the whole structure framework all done. Okay, then on that month that we're looking at, we will see whether what is the amount that is done. Then we will change this percentage accordingly. So meaning that if there is a delay, okay, it means that up until certain point, let's say I'm putting here at this point in time, the work that is supposed to be under this 30% weightage, okay, is only done 24%. So basically, you are still short of 6%. Okay, so when you add it up, you will have another. You need to plug in another number here. We call it earn value, and this earn value is like this curve will grow one. This curve will grow. Okay, at different point in time. Month 1 it will grow like this. Month 2 it will grow. Month 3 it will grow. Month 4 it will grow. It is based on your progress of work. So in your site, if your progress of work is accordingly, then obviously this number doesn't change. Then you will have the same dot. But it's impossible to have that. Okay. So what we do is we will put in the numbers accordingly. You need to check the progress of work. So that means as a client, like those people will ask me that question of how do I know that the declaration of the percentage is correct or not? So it is basically based on this S curve lah. So if the S curve already put the work percentage as 30% for the weightage, so these 2 months cumulatively, you're supposed to have already up to this point, you should have already completed like here is, let's say here. Yeah, you're supposed to have already complete about 48% of the whole project, you see. So, oh, sorry, this is progressive. Yeah, this is progress. Oh, yeah, 50%, 51%. So from the cumulative, you know by now, by these two is already 42%. So by cumulative, by adding these two is like you finish up like 42%, but cumulative, you're finishing up here because you've also got other things coming in. Okay. So at this point in time, you're supposed to have done 48% inclusive of some activities from this activity C here. Okay. So now this is a percentage that both you and the contractor agree upon. So when you go to your Gantt chart and the project is actually in delay, meaning that the actual progress is not up to that amount. So then you need to key it into your, the work that has been done over that period of time. How much is it? Then you need to do that cumulative again. And then you will have another number that is maybe a bit lower. And this lower number, the difference here is what we call how do you say it? This is what we call EV technique. EV technique means that we're taking the earned value. Earned value is what we call the budgeted cost of the work performed and compared to budgeted cost of the work schedule. So you can use this physical S-curve to do that. And then once it's done, you can get a difference between the percentage. If it's a negative, EV minus, this is your PV, plan value. Your EV minus your PV, okay, you will get the negative value means that you are over budget. You are delayed, okay? And then with the S-curve one, okay, with the financial S-curve one, if you have the actual cost of the work performed, which means your claim amount, okay, then you will know that the AC minus of the PV, you will get the cost variance. So this is all about monitoring. I'm just running through it with you guys. I know I'm sounding like really confusing for you all, but like this plan, actual and plan value and all that. So this is like here, okay. So once you've got the EV, once you have got this chart, you can actually key in your percentage value again and then do your cumulative again, okay, and then after that you will have a PV. So this is your PV, this is your original curve, and this is your EV curve. So any differences here, it means that EV and PV, the differences is the time. That means delay. So at this point in time, there's delay. At this point in time, there's delay. At this point in time, is delay. At this point in time, is on time. Okay. So this is the kind of calculation that we do for you to calculate for your cost. If let's say if you know whether you're running out of budget or not, then we have an AC. So with the other curve, the financial S curve, you key in your AC value, which is the actual cost, the money that is spent or the money that you claim, then you will know that it's actually over budget or under budget. Okay. So PV minus EV or EV minus PV, if it's a negative value, you will get, this means delay. So this one means delay, okay, when it's about time. Progress is about time. Financial S-curve with your PV and your AC, you're going to get your, you're going to get your, you can use that one as well, actually, but that one you need to convert it to money lah for your progress. But progress, you can directly just use EV minus PV using your physical S-curve, and whereby financial S-curve, you can use your the budgeted cost of the work schedule over budgeted cost of the work, over the actual cost of the work performed. So this is what we normally do with the two curve lah, to actually detect whether we're going to have a detection. Okay, it's really to detect what is this? This is not an assignment now, so this is just a practice that you have. But it's okay. Just take a look at it. Don't worry about it. Okay. So yeah, like I say, this is what we call EV technique. EV technique is actually a technique that is developed by the Marine Department, like a Marine Navy, the Navy of US, when they did it for their research-based kind of project. It's under project management. And these are techniques that they can quickly detect using all these curves. They can quickly detect whether there's a budget overrun or time behind schedule or budget overrun. So with EV for physical S curve, you can use EV for both financial S curve, financial curve. Okay, financial curve you can use both AC, EV, and PV. It's all day. Okay, I will explain. I've also got some pre-recorded lecture that is available that I will put up to explain this a little bit more in case some of you are confused still. Okay, but like I said, when I meet you physically, I think it's a bit better to talk that way rather than me like trying to explain, like trying to get everybody to imagine things, you see. So yeah, so this PV, like I said, PV is in both. When you do your financial S curve, when you do your physical S curve, both PV are there. But PV, you can use your EV looking back at your schedule and recalculate your weightage. You will get your EV. Same thing, getting EV and PV is the same technique. You need to redistribute your percentage over, like for example, this is like 30 ma just now ma, over 5 ma. So now it's over 6 ma. So that means this is going to be changing. You know, so when you do the cumulative, it's going to be different. So then when you add things up, the line will be different. So these differences here will show you whether you have a schedule overrun. Okay, schedule overrun means you're faster. If it's under, it means that you are, if it's a negative value, EV minus your PV, if it's a negative value, then you are actually having a schedule. You have a schedule problem, meaning that you are delayed, okay? And if you go to your financial S curve, okay, financial S curve, the first PV value is called budgeted cost of the work schedule, okay? Then looking at the work that is done, you need to convert them to money, and then you need to key it in accordingly, okay? Then with the actual money spent, you're going to have another curve. So that curve can give you both time and cost variance. What we need to know is we want to have a very quick way of detecting whether we are having a delay, how much is the delay, how are we having a budget overrun, are we overpaying our contractor, or are we underpaying them, do we need to catch up with payment? These are managing your time and money at the same time, and that is what we call EV technique. Okay, so basically this is on cost control. Time and cost control, we can do it together with our S curve. Okay, if you're doing basically this is it, like, you know, like we have finished basically time and cost management. Like I said, with a very short period of time over one semesters like this, well, I mean, we're trying to cover as much as we can. Okay, all the basic technique, all the things that we need to know. I mean, like as a project manager, these are the fundamentals. But honestly, I tell you, there is a lot more to it than just like whatever we're telling you here. So it's a matter of practicing it, trying to learn and practice and try to use it. The more that you use it, the easier it will be, you know. So in the future, many of you, if you work for contractor, you need to produce a physical S curve and financial S curve. If you work for client, you need to know how to read physical S curve and financial S curve, and what is a number in the physical S curve and financial S curve, and then what is it that, you know, what is the percentage of delay, and are you overpaying people? Are you underpaying people? These are all information that is very important for you to make decision in project management. Okay, like whether you're going to take a step further to rectify, to control, you know, this is all monitoring. So for monitoring, what kind of control measure are you going to be using? So these are steps that we need to do. Okay. All right. So like I say, it's a bit hard when we don't have a whiteboard to actually show you. But this Friday we're gonna have tests. So next Friday, next Monday when we come back, I will not cover about money and time anymore. We'll move on to quality management. And when I see you the next Friday, I will quickly just run through this a little bit more with you on the whiteboard. And then we need to finish out on quality management before I move you to risk management, because only with risk management subject covered, then you can do your IDP and you can all do your project as well. For my class, there's another project, 25% project, that is going to be based on money and risk. Okay, so so I need to finish this syllabus up to risk by week 11, so that you all can properly fully go and do your thing. I think this one here, I'm not sure whether I put it in the assignment that you need to draw S-curve or not. I probably did, so you take a look first. Or have I posted the project? I haven't posted the project yet, I think, because project normally I will only post after the test and after the assignment being done. And both assignment and test is this week. So I will post up the project next week. But whatever that we're doing for the past 2 weeks, okay, up until now, you can easily handle half of your project already. And then when we finish with risk management, you can use the technique there to do your IDP 1, and you can use the technique here to do your second part of your project as well. Okay, so this is how we are mapping it up for you all. So like I said, next week when I see you, I won't talk about S-curve in online classes, but a quick run through again with the monitoring with the EV technique again, just in case some of you didn't fully get it. Okay, I mean, like, I'm sure some of you didn't fully get it. I mean, just that I need a better way of talking to you rather than just facing the screen like this, lah. Okay, all right. Let me get the. Are you guys okay? Let me get the QR. Why is this one? Class attendance. Actually, we are running a bit short of time because I think I've been taking a lot of time trying to explain things to you in a slower way. Yeah, so maybe later on, in terms of some of the syllabus like engineering law and all that, I may have to do pre-recorded. So make sure that we get all the basic ones out of the way, and some extra things I will put it in pre-recorded. This is the QR. Can you see? Okay. All right. Are you guys having any more questions or anything like that? If not, then we call it a day. Anyone needs manual attendance or anything like that? Any questions so far? You guys are so quiet. Hello? Are you there? Still there? Still alive?
No question.
So far, okay.
So far, okay. Okay does not mean I'll see your test result later. Oh, 2 questions on the test. So if you attend the class last week, I've already give you the tips. 2 questions, 2A, 2B, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. Okay. Whoever didn't attend last week physical class, you can talk to your friends, and whether they want to share the information, the tips with you or not, is entirely up to you. Okay. But Friday, I need to check where exactly is the test. I think it's at Zamrud or something. I better check now. So I don't think this Friday we don't go to Mao, because this Friday the test is somewhere else. So it's 3 to 4 p.m. So be there around 2:45 like that. Don't be too late. If we can, we start a bit early. I'll still give you up to 4 p.m. Okay, no more. Any more QR? All right. Any more questions? If no, you guys can move out already. If got questions, you can stay back. Okay. I'll see you guys. See you on Friday.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. See you guys. Bye bye.